Amanda. I work with PwC's Academy. I'm in charge of the school relationships, and I've been liaising with GEMS for over 2 years now. And we've got a couple of incentives for GEMS students and a little bit of information on what kind of programs we offer to students after high school. So I'm just going to start off. I see a lot of people are joining in as we go along. So the agenda for today is I'm going to cover a little bit about PwC's Academy. I'm going to talk a little bit about the University of London's International Foundation Program. Now, for those of you who are wondering, I work for PwC's Academy, and how come I'm talking about University of London? It's because we have a partnership with them, and we are delivering programs for them in the Middle East. We then have another program called the Young Employable Scholar, or YES program. We're going to talk a little bit about the schedules and a little bit about our gamified learning strategy under added value. Now, about PwC's Academy, the first thing I'd like to cover is that we are actually the learning and education business of PricewaterhouseCoopers, which is one of the big 4 audit firms in the world. Now, many people are aware of PwC as a brand, and in the Middle East, they have the biggest academy in terms of across the world, and we specialize in learning and education. Apart from this, we have training across many locations in the Middle East, like Saudi, Lebanon, Jordan, Bahrain, Kuwait, but our largest operations are in the UAE. We have 4 pillars that we deliver training on. In terms of school students, it fits under finance, assurance, and tax, but we also do leadership strategy and transformation and digital training for leadership and for C-suite in various organizations. Finally, we were established in 2012, and we have a unique gamified learning strategy for delivery. Now, moving on to the next piece, this is probably one of our most important programs, which is quite relevant to a lot of students right now, considering the COVID situation, considering all of the restrictions that have happened in terms of training globally and in terms of people who wanted to go to universities abroad. So we are partnered with the University of London to deliver their training programs in the UAE and across the entire Middle East. Now, the International Foundation Program operates much like any other foundation program that you've heard of, except that we only deliver the foundation. We help students with then going on to top universities of their choice after completing University of London's foundation program with us. Now, in terms of the International Foundation Program from University of London, what happens when you complete this program with PwC's Academy? You get an International Foundation certificate directly from the University of London. It is mailed over from them with their branding and their logo. PwC's Academy's name does not appear on the certification. We are just their study center in the UAE, so it shows a very legitimate program certification directly from London. Apart from this, it is RQF level 3, which is equivalent to traditional IB and A levels. I've been hearing that some exams have been canceled, and therefore people might be wondering what to do in these circumstances. And this is where foundation program can actually help out, especially in terms of going to university. How long does this foundation program take? It typically completed within 1 academic year, but in certain cases, we can extend up to 2 years as well, depending on the age of the student. The location. Now, PwC's Academy is the only recognized study center for the University of London in the Middle East, and our location is actually right next to the Dubai Mall, so our campus is very much accessible to students on a regular basis. Currently, of course, with the COVID situation, we are hoping that this alleviates by the time we actually run this program, so at that point, metro access is very acceptable to our students. However, we also have a lot of expertise in online delivery and online tools. Finally, the program was introduced in 2013, so it's been around for a while, and it's met with a lot of success wherever it has been distributed. Now, this is probably the most important part. Why is IFP relevant for you today? So this is the International Foundation Program with the University of London. I'll be coming to what exactly is covered in this a little later. Please feel free to put any questions in the chat box as I'm going along. Ask me any questions. I'll keep an eye on the chat box so I can answer as I go along. Now, first thing is it's a gateway to top universities in the UK, USA, Canada, and Europe. That means these universities abroad are very well aware of the University of London International Foundation Program, and it is very acceptable to them. So you don't have to spend time proving where you got the certification from. They don't need to do too much background research on it. They know it, and therefore they will recognize it when it is submitted for applications to university later. It is, of course, equivalent to A levels and IB. It's important, especially this year, because the exams are cancelled. The other idea is that it allows you to also study in the UAE. And currently, due to any travel restrictions, people who are trying to go abroad pretty soon, instead of doing that, they can wait for a year, do this foundation program, and then go on to university abroad, wherever they were choosing. This is to study with a global brand and gain internship experience with PwC. So I'm going to come into what that internship experience would be for students. And also, hopefully, most of you have heard of PwC. PwC is a big financial services firm that is well known across the world. It is there in absolutely every country, and they have offices everywhere. So people do consider it a bit of a household name, especially those from a financial services background. So it will be a very recognizable brand to be associated with. So of course, the IFP is accredited by the University of London, which many years in a row has been ranked as one of the best universities in the UK and even in the world. Now, this is a pretty interesting slide that I'm coming to, because I'm going to talk a little bit about universities that accept the IFP. So you may see a university here that possibly you or your child is interested in. So first of all, here's the United Kingdom. These are the top universities, or the most popular universities for people transiting from the UAE. And these universities are very much accepting of the IFP. So once they see it, they will understand it, and they will be able to award you a place in the university once you actually produce this IFP certification. We also have in the USA a few universities, Australia a few universities, Canada, and then across Europe as well, and New Zealand. Now, just to give you a key indication, this is not a fully comprehensive list. These are just some examples of universities that accept. There will be even more than this. So definitely, once students enroll on the IFP, there will be a counselor assigned to them to help them prepare their applications for university on completion of the program. Does anyone have any questions at this stage? You can please put your questions in the chat box if you find any questions that you may have at this stage about the International Foundation Program. Okay, I don't see any questions, but please feel free to type it in anytime you want. Now, apart from this, we're going to talk about what courses are actually included in this foundation program. So because we as PwC's Academy are part of PwC, one of our core areas of expertise is accounting and finance. Therefore, the subjects that we have chosen to deliver for the IFP are maths and statistics, economics, accounting and finance, and law. Now, it doesn't matter if a student is from a science background and now wants to venture into accounting or business or finance, because this is completely taught from scratch as if you have no prior knowledge of these subjects. So that shouldn't be a problem for anyone who is interested in this area. In terms of eligibility, the idea is that the university requires 5 O-level passes or equivalent in order for admission onto the IFP, but they do tend to take even 4 O-levels as a minimum requirement. This is equivalent to a C grade, or in the Indian syllabus, around 70 to 75%. So of course, they are considering applications on a case-by-case basis. So if the academy puts together an application for someone who perhaps doesn't have the minimum requirement, they may take it under advisement and offer a place anyway. In terms of English proficiency, you ideally need to have at least, so how to get admission in King's College with scholarship? I see that someone has asked a question. So in terms of getting admission in King's College, the idea is that once students complete the foundation program, because that's where we come in as PwC's Academy, we will then help the students with their application to King's College with their scores from the foundation program and with a separate application for a scholarship. So of course, once they have done an internship within PwC's Academy and within PwC, that will further enhance their CV and further enhance their application when they apply to universities abroad. Okay. So you have these 5 O-level passes as an equivalent. In terms of English proficiency, ideally you either need to have an O-level pass in an English medium, or you need to have a band score of 6 in IELTS. That's a minimum requirement to get onto this program. Finally, they need to be aged at least 17 or above by December of the year of enrollment. So if they're enrolling this year, by December, they should be at least 17. If students are below 17, if they're 16, or if someone skipped a year, or if someone has progressed faster than they expected, then we would then look into a 2-year program so that they're 17 by the time they write their exams. Okay. Now, in terms of additional courses, as you would have seen on the previous slide, there were 4 main courses that I was talking about: maths and stats, eco, accounting and finance and law. These are quite basic in nature, but good are of the quality to get into university. Now, we have added some courses on top of this to actually try and produce a professional at the end of this program. So it's not just about getting this certification from University of London, but we do want to train them on soft skills as well. So we have professionals within PwC's Academy who will be teaching students to improve their presence and presentation skills, so that when they go to university and they're required to do any kind of case studies, group discussions, group activities, or presentations, they'll be a lot more skilled. We also will be teaching them about emotional intelligence, managing their emotions, being self-aware, learning how to write, learning how to do business writing, so writing professional emails, writing professional reports. We will also teach them about interview preparation, so that when they're applying for universities, when the time comes for interviews, they will know what to do. And we also foster their desire to keep learning. In terms of the IELTS, you may have noticed that the minimum score to get onto the International Foundation Program is band score of 6. But of course, to get into top colleges like King's College, for example, you need to improve your English score beyond that. So the Academy will be spending time teaching these students how to improve their English speaking or English hearing or English listening skills, and helping them get the best score possible to get into universities in the UK. So IELTS will be done after basically all the exam training. Now, just to talk about the virtual internships. So PwC's Academy will be setting up virtual internships for these students for a period of 2 weeks after they finish the exam training. They will be setting up a bookkeeping system for a virtual company. So we would be setting up a virtual company for them, and then we will be designing it in such a way that they have to prepare reports, that they are allocated managers, that they need to understand what mistakes are there on the system. It's basically simulating a real job environment, at the end of which we will provide a certificate showing that they have done a virtual internship with PwC's Academy. Again, something that will add value when the time comes for applications to universities abroad on completion of this foundation. Now, coming to the skills developed, of course, we will be assigning them to work in groups with each other to develop their team working skills. We'll give them deadlines to produce reports on the basis of their accounting systems and software, so that they can develop time management skills. And we will get them to send emails and other forms of business written communication to develop business writing skills. So the virtual internship is yet another component of the program. So of course, there are the 4 exams that they need to do. They have some soft skills training. they have IELTS training, and they have a virtual internship towards the end where they will be focusing on developing workplace skills. So just before I move on to the next section, are there any other questions? Can you apply for this virtual internship without applying for the IFP? Unfortunately, this is something that we are developing specifically for the International Foundation Program, and that we have had approvals in place only to use it with the IFP. Any other questions? Okay, no other questions, so I'll move on. Now, coming to the next section, we're going to talk about the grading system. Is medical course available? Unfortunately not. We are an accounting and finance or leadership training business, so we don't do medical training at all. It's only accounting, finance and assurance, and leadership and strategy. Okay. Now, coming to the grading system, when it comes to these foundation programs, they're coming straight from the University of London. And the idea is that the overall International Foundation certificate, once it comes from University of London, you will either be getting a pass, merit, or distinction, plus a percentage mark for every course. I'll be showing you a transcript soon, or an example of a transcript, so you can see what it means. You can see how it looks in terms of your results. So 0 to 39 is a fail. If you get 40, that means you're at pass. 60 to 70 is merit, and then 70 above to 100% is, of course, distinction. Okay. Now, in terms of the IFP examinations, all the courses, that's the 4 courses that I mentioned, maths and stats, accounting, economics, and law, all the exams are 2 hours, 15 minutes each. The main session for written examinations usually takes place in April each year. Results are released in May, and you have a maximum of 3 attempts to pass the exam for each course. Now, here are examples of the certifications you would get from the University of London. This would be mailed directly to you. So you can see here what the name of the person will be issued, and it'll say that they have passed the approved examinations conducted by the University of London. It will also show you a transcript. So you can see here the 4 kind of subjects that they have chosen and the marks that they would get, and whether it's a distinction, pass, distinction, or fail, or whatever it is in terms of results. Now, in terms of fees, we have the PwC's Academy fees, which is $15,000 plus VAT for a full year of training. Then we have the payment to the University of London for the right to register with the university, which is around $2,560. We have exam fees, which are paid to British Council of around $193 per course exam. And there are some special benefits for GEMS in terms of discounts. Okay. Now, apart from this, this is basically the end of the International Foundation Program discussion that I wanted to have with you. Do you have any questions before I go on to the next program that we deliver at the Academy, along with any kind of incentives that we have for GEM students? Any questions at this stage? So this is basically our contact person who is in charge of the International Foundation Program, and she would be able to give you some insights. So just to recap, to be eligible for the foundation program, you should have ideally completed your A-levels, or you should have probably not, if you've not got the scores that you wanted to get into top universities, this will help you improve your scores. And then, of course, you have students from the Indian curriculum once they're done with grade 12, if they want to take a break and do this foundation program before they go on to university abroad, especially in light of the current situation. Okay, I don't see any questions coming up, but please feel free to message anytime you do have a question. I'm now coming to a very special program, which is the Young Employable Scholar Program. Now, this program is basically a very comprehensive, tailor-made program, which is equivalent to a university degree. So what happens here is you have your education piece, which is where you actually take a chartered accountancy qualification. So some students choose to go through this vocational pathway when they know that they're going to go into hardcore finance and that someday they would want to be signing off financial statements or conducting audits. They require a professional qualification in order to do this. And the ACCA, which is the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, has approved us first as a learning provider in the Middle East. And in this YES program, the students will complete all the exams with us. They will get special one-on-one support because we only allow up to 15 students in a class here. So the student to mentor ratio will be quite good. And also they get a BSc in Applied Accounting from Oxford Brookes University in the UK. Now, how does this work? I'll be showing you a little later. How is it that they do a professional qualification and end up with a degree as well? I'll be explaining that a little later. In terms of professional training on this program, they will get employability skills training, soft skills training. They learn how to use Sage, which is an accounting software. They will learn shortcuts and gain familiarity with basic and advanced Excel. They have assurance training, and finally, they will learn about the UAE VAT compliance diploma so that if they ever want to go into tax consulting, this is a good certification to have once they're done with the program. Now, in terms of the ACCA qualification, the ACCA qualification is divided into 3 levels. Now, please be aware that this is a chartered accountancy qualification, and you do not need to have a commerce background in order to do it. Even if you come from a science background, you can still do the ACCA qualification if you choose to do so. In terms of the ACCA qualification, there are the first 3 papers that are mentioned right at the top. That's Accountant in Business Management Accounting and Financial Accounting. These are the basic level papers where you learn a little bit about business and culture. You'll learn how to look at budgets, variance analysis, and you'll also learn how to set up financial statements from scratch. Once you're done with these 3 exams, you then move into the applied skills module, which is where you will have about 6 papers to complete, which will be law, performance management, tax, which is UK tax, financial reporting, audit and assurance, and financial management. So the good thing about the ACCA, it's not specific to one particular kind of accounting and finance qualification. It has a wide range of subjects that it covers, from audit, tax, financial management, investment banking, so that students don't have to specialize right away. They can go on and specialize once they're ready. From the strategic professional module, you have 2 essential papers, and you choose 2 out of 4 option papers to be your specialization once you're done with the first 11. Now, just to give you some indication about Oxford Brookes University, so I mentioned that we are accredited by Oxford Brookes University to basically do the mentoring for their degree. Now, how does this work? The degree you get at the end of ACCA and doing the work for Oxford Brookes University is you get a BSc in Applied Accounting. It's equivalent to a traditional UK degree, which is 360 credits. How do you get these 360 credits? You get 330 credits from successfully completing the first 9 papers of ACCA and 30 credits from submission of a research and analysis project. Now, the research and analysis project, or RAP, is 9,500 words, and a mentor will be assigned by PwC's Academy to help you write this and, well, to guide you on writing it and to sign off that we have viewed. So the university knows that we are assisting the students and guiding them. But we will, of course, not write the project for the students. We would just be assisting and guiding and reviewing and editing. So this is how they get the degree directly from Oxford Brookes University. Now, the interesting part about the YES program is there is an internship built in. It is a physical internship, and it is with one of the top 5 employers in the world, which is PwC. So during this internship, they will be mentored by PwC professionals. They engage in challenging and exciting client work. All the students have been sent out to clients. They go and audit their financial statements, initially with support and guidance. And after they get comfortable, they are usually sent out on their own. They are given their laptops, access cards. They're treated like a full-time employee. They get paid a stipend as well for the time that they are doing this work. They get to build relationships with PwC senior management. They have networking and training opportunities, and they gain experience in audit and assurance. And it's not a short internship, it's 10 months. So within the 3-year YES program, 10 months of those 3 years, they will be getting experience, a full-time internship experience with PwC. Now, in order to become an ACCA member or to qualify fully, you need 36 months of work experience along with completing all the exams. So this contributes towards that practical experience requirement from ACCA. If there are any questions at this stage, please do feel free to chat or to write it in the chat box so I can go over it in detail if anyone has any questions. So this is, of course, the most attractive part of the program. Most students come because they're hoping for an internship with PwC, and they get an opportunity to do this over a period of 3 years. They build really good relationships, and in the first launch year of the program, all students were then employed by PwC on completion of the program, full-time. Okay. Now, in terms of the YES program, they also have employability training where we teach them on creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, risk assessment, and of course, how to present themselves to seniors and to each other. We do SAGE training with them, which, as I mentioned before, is an accounting software, and we'll be guiding them on how to set up a bookkeeping system and how to add suppliers, how to check for bookkeeping errors, so that if they ever start their own business at any point, they would have the basic knowledge required in order to manage their finances appropriately on an accounting software. You then have the assurance technical training. This is a really interesting training because this is usually only given to employees of PwC to teach them the audit and assurance methodology and how to approach clients. Now, this is a course that has been opened up only to the YES students. We don't ever offer it to anyone else. They have the opportunity to see, confidential paperwork, be involved, and of course, be professional in the way that they're dealing with senior staff as well who attend the same training along with them. So they're basically the youngest ones who are there in this training, and they get to learn a lot from the seniors who are on the training as well. So the contact person for the YES program is me. So my number and my email address are given here as well. This will be recorded, this whole webinar, and posted on GEM's channels. So you'd be able to pick it up from there as well. Now, moving on to the schedules, just to make you understand what the YES program and University of London schedules look like. So as I said, University of London IFP will usually start in September, and it will go on till April, which is when the exams take place. Now, what we've done is we've split each training day. So initially, we will be teaching and delivering training from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And then from 1:30 to 5 p.m., students will engage in question practice or exam practice on their own with guidance from their teacher. So we don't want to make it a full day of just delivery and someone just talking at them. They will do delivery in the morning, and in the afternoon, the students will work on certain homework assignments, group activities, and engage in some other digital tools in order to improve and strengthen their ability to answer questions. These courses will be run in both Dubai and Abu Dhabi. In Dubai, our campus is next to the Dubai Mall, and in Abu Dhabi, our campus is in Abu Dhabi Mall, actually. So there is a tower in the Abu Dhabi Mall where students can attend classes. In terms of the YES program, it's a 3-year program where they do all the ACCA papers, they do employability training, etc. And this is a sample of the year 1 schedule. You can see at the beginning, we do a mentoring week where we sit and speak to students, give them an idea of what to expect. We take them out for lunch. We do a lot of games and activities in the first week. In the next week, we do employability training. We go on to Microsoft Excel, and you can see the number of days. So in some days, they will be, in some weeks, they will be there the whole week. Some weeks, they will have only 2 to 3 days of classes, and the rest of the time will be for their own preparation. And basically, by the time they complete everything, it'll be probably around June of the next year. So this is kind of how our schedule looks for the YES program. Now, in terms of added value, we have a special strategy in terms of learning called gamified learning. So we don't just teach. We spend a lot of time and effort in digital tools to improve learning and engagement from our students. So first of all, we look at energizers. At the beginning of the class and after lunchtime, we introduce certain activities which will get the students moving around, getting to know each other a little bit better so that they're more engaged for the rest of the class. We have chat box, which is basically where students can type in any questions throughout the class. We have a kind of tool called Kahoot, which is a fun online quiz tool which we use for training students. We have another platform called Mentimeter. I'll be showing you these examples in the next few slides. We have Google Forms and breakout sessions. We try and keep all our lessons as activity driven as possible, and we try and focus on having 80% activities and involvement and only 20% instructor delivery so that students stay engaged and they learn better. So if you notice here, this is an example of Menti. It's one of the tools that we use. Students log in and they type in one-word answers. For example, if I were to ask someone, what did you understand today from this session? You know, one of you may write, okay, learn more about the YES program. It'll come up on the screen anonymously. And if multiple people say the same thing, it will be the biggest kind of text in the center of the screen. So we would be able to see what most people took away from the session. And we'd also be able to see if students have any difficulty with any areas that we can go and revisit them without them individually telling us. Kahoot is a fun online quiz, which is basically, it asks questions, students will answer on their phone, and the students who are the fastest and the most accurate will win the game at the end. This is another example of a game that we use for delivery. So we prepared a PowerPoint game, which is a maze master game, and they play it almost like a game. So they can enter a maze, click on the question, then their icon will move forward and their question comes up. So if you get the right answer, it'll tell you what to do, and then you can either exit, or if you got it wrong, you can exit again and start the quiz again. So we try and ensure that all the delivery of our courses takes place in such a manner. The YES program and the University of London are our two top programs, but we also offer ACCAs separately from this. So it depends on what the students are really looking to achieve. But that's about what I wanted to cover in this session, and I wanted to leave some time for anyone who has any questions at this stage and who would like to ask if you have any concerns or any difficulties in understanding what I've gone through. That would be helpful if you could just chat or just ask me any questions in the chat box. Any questions at all? Okay, I don't see any questions coming through. So hopefully you'll be able to see this recording a little later and be able to collect my details from there. But if you have any questions, please do reach out to me. And I hope to hear from you on either the IFP or the YES program or on the ACCA or any of the other additional pieces. So could you please repeat the part where you said students could appear for an internship in PwC? Of course, I can do that for sure. So in terms of the PwC internship, what happens is that when they join the YES program, they get all the requisite training and skills that they need in order to get this guaranteed internship with PwC. So by signing up for the YES program, you are guaranteed an internship. During this internship, so as I said, the YES program is 3 years. In years 2 and 3, you will do 5 months of internship each. So you'll study for the first 5 months of the year, And the second 5 months, you will do the internship. So the internship usually takes place between December and April, which is the busy audit season. They will join in December and they'll be allocated to certain clients. They usually try to allocate them to clients in their area so they can travel directly from home to their clients. In some cases, they may need to come to the office before going to the client. They get involved in all the nitty-gritty of audits. So they learn how to use our software and methodology. They have access to all the material, all the reports, and they are given responsibility in terms of achieving certain tasks for the client. And they are expected to build relationships with the client. They're expected to work with the senior professionals in the organization to build their network. And eventually, when they finish the 3 years of the YES program and the 10 months of the experience, they will be signed off by us at the Academy to show that they have met 10 months of practical experience requirement by ACCA. Is that clear, or do you have any other questions about the internship? Okay, great. Thank you. If you have my email address, you can ask me. I can share with you a video link of students who are actually completed the YES program, kind of sharing their experience of how it went. So I can share with you that link if you would like to contact me at some point. I've just entered my email address in the chat box for anyone who needs it. Any other questions at this stage? Okay, so if that's it, thank you everyone for attending. Thank you for those who stayed for the whole webinar. This will be recorded and included on GEM's channel. So if you need anything else, please do let me know. Thank you so much for attending, and thank you, Lena. I think I will end this meeting now. So if there's anything